Hi, everybody. We want to welcome you to the Krista&ed show, and we're super excited today. We have a special guest, Sherry Thacker, who has been an entrepreneur for 25 years. She's a single mom of a 6-year-old and is involved in the fitness industry and really has taken a lot of different curves in her life. And we want to hear her story, and we're really excited that you're here, Sherry. So thank you for taking the time to spend with us, and we would love to hear about your story.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Where do you want me to start? What kind of questions do you have for me today?
Well, go ahead.
If you could just maybe tell us a little bit about, what you're doing right now for business. I know you're involved in the fitness world, but what is it that you're doing that can help other people who might be listening to?
Absolutely. Well, I have been a trainer for the last 10 years, and through that process studied nutrition, obviously, and massage therapy. But what I found as a fitness trainer is that I was giving them a fitness program and I was giving them a nutrition plan, and they'd go home and they had no accountability. They had no motivation to do anything outside of the hour that I was yelling at them in the gym. And I found that I was struggling trying to help people really transform their lives, like in every aspect, because I think we're getting to a point in science where we know that fitness and nutrition is not just about calories in and calories out. It's the whole life. So being able to understand how to manage stress, how to manage sleep, how to cleanse and detoxify your body, but understanding how your body works, because the majority of the fitness industry right now and the nutrition industry is just basically counting calories, weighing your food, understanding macro charts, going to the treadmill, running for a while, lifting some weights. But there's so much more to the story than that. So about 8 months ago, I created my amazing program that I'm so proud of. And it's called My Health is Non-Negotiable, your 6-week guide to total transformation. I've since written a book and a cookbook and a workbook that goes all in sync with my program. And basically what we do is we use functional medicine strategies, and we use fitness and nutrition as the vehicle. But in essence, it's the inspiration and motivation that we have and the accountability to help people stay on track with the program until they've gone through the education of how their body works. Your body is very different from my body, and we all had a different upbringing. We all have different lifestyles. We have different stress levels. We have different hormonal imbalances, chemicals that have been exposed to my body and not to yours, and vice versa. So the plans that are designed by other professionals that are based on a 1,400 calorie plan that is sent to you may not work for you, because you may be intolerant to dairy, or you may have a problem with gluten, or you may have certain foods that are inflammatory to you but not to me. So until you sit down and really actually understand how your body works, you're going to constantly do this yo-yo dieting and chasing your tail thing. So what we do in our program is we run you through a 6-week strategic plan that first we go through a series of understanding fasting and the benefits of fasting and why you would want to do that. And then teach people that it's not as scary as it sounds, that we just simply define the 2 hours of time that you are eating and that the hours of time that you're not eating. And then my cookbook allows them to understand exactly what to eat during that time, to understand how to go through a fast easily and go out of a fast. Yeah. And then in week 2, we teach you about inflammation and understanding that all the itises and the pains in your back and in your joint are coming from inflammatory foods. And we want to teach you how to dramatically reduce the inflammation that's causing your body pain and causing your body to swell. In week 3, we teach you about gut health, and we teach you about the importance of the microbiome. And we can't fix the gut until we've taught you about fasting and reducing the inflammation in your body. So we teach you about nourishing your body with healthy gut bacteria, how to seal the lining of your intestines and of your gut that's likely suffering from leaky gut right now. We teach you about fermented foods, and we teach you how to nourish your body with pre and probiotics. So that's in week 3. And week 4, we really talk about stress and stress management and the impact of how much stress can affect your life and how much it affects your health and your weight. We teach you about sleep and how to really optimize your sleep and coming up with a really awesome sleeping routine to make sure that when you go to bed, you're getting all the repair that your body was designed to do in a night's worth of sleep. And finally, in our last week, we go and we teach you how to go through either some juicing or some detox strategies to help kind of clean and cleanse and flush out the body, help to heal your organs. And then people by this time are like completely madly in love with us. They join up with us for a year because they want to keep doing that cycle again and again and again throughout the year. So our program is phenomenal. We're getting amazing results. My best testimonial to date is a gal who lost 130 pounds with us in 8 months. She's lost 100 inches, and I've got 100 more testimonials just like that. So that's what we're doing right now.
Wow. That is so awesome. And, you know, as you're talking about that, I was thinking about, I think I heard at one point that, you know, if you stick to something for 21 days, then, you know, if you can get through those first 21 days, then you're good, right? So exactly. If somebody's following you along that journey for 6 weeks, oh my God, I feel like I probably need this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk after this.
Honestly, you know, but what you just talked about, honestly, I feel like that is part of, like, when you're thinking about wanting to get healthy or feel better or have more energy, it's overwhelming because it's like, I don't know where to start. Yeah. Like for me, I mean, I keep thinking, okay, I need to go to the gym, right? But I don't have the energy to go to the gym because I'm like, if I go to the gym, then I'm going to pass out because I don't have the energy to actually be at the right. And then this whole thing happens in my head. But I know it goes back to, you know, not just nutrition, but all of the things that you just talked about, which are so
well. Usually
so
you
important.
don't, like, usually it's like, okay, here you go work out. Okay, here's a meal plan. But to talk about your sleep pattern, which I know is important, usually people don't talk about that. Or even about what you're bringing up about probiotics and everything about your stomach. I mean, I've heard before that, you know, a good chunk of what we eat in a day, we're allergic to. So when you bring up the inflammation, I'm assuming that's what it is. Or, you know, I have allergies, so I know what it's like to be allergic to stuff. So, you know, I know people have mentioned to me, hey, you're probably allergic to dairy. You don't even know. But yeah, I have cream on my coffee every day, right? So to be able to kind of identify that, and like you said, it's life is pattern. If you or habit, sorry, if you create the habit, then you go for it. Her and I went on like a vegetarian diet for, how long did we go for? A month and a half, 2 months, and we felt great.
I mean, I went on it because I had to. Like, I don't absorb nutrients very well. And honestly, it was crazy after a couple of days. And it's crazy that we're not still doing it, actually. But I didn't realize that I wasn't supposed to feel the way I was feeling. Like, holy cow. I'm like, really? Like, this is how I've been walking around my whole life, right? Yeah. So,
you know, you nailed it. Okay, Krista, you nailed it, because that's exactly what we teach, is the fact that people jump in and out of programs like they jump in and out of cars, right? And we teach you how to make your health non-negotiable. You need to have a series and a routine that you have in your life, because when life gets crazy, when life gets in the way, when all of a sudden your mother-in-law is in the hospital, or you got to run back and forth to soccer, or somebody lost their job, and all of a sudden it's like, out goes my health because I got to focus on this now. And what we do is we teach you how to make your health an absolute priority, no matter what. Things are always going to happen in life. Yeah. You're always ebbing and flowing in and out of all sorts of projects and changes and things that are going on. So if you don't master how to look after the only asset you were ever given, this is the only asset you were ever given in your life, and it's your residence. This is where you live. Mm-hmm. We spend so much time cleaning our dishes and mopping our floors and paying our mortgage and making sure that our house looks nice and we have nice fancy things. And yet the one important residence where we live in 24/7. There is no escaping this bag of bones that you lug around with you.
Yeah.
And you make a decision and a choice every single day as to how you want to spend your life. If you haven't noticed, my energy is super high because I am in my peak performance at all times.
Yeah.
I feed my body the way my body was designed to be fed, and I move my body the way my body was designed to move. I don't call myself paleo. I don't call myself keto. I don't call myself vegan. I don't have a label. I've just figured out the routines that I need to practice on an 80% of the time basis.
Yeah.
And then 20% of the time, I enjoy life for the year that it's in. You know, I have a date night. I'll have a glass of wine. I'll have a yummy dessert, and I live life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have a rock solid understanding of how my body works, so that no matter what is going on in my life,
Yeah.
I don't need to decide if I'm in or out of a diet on how to manage my health to get myself through that hard time. What people don't realize, and this is so important, is that when you're going through that divorce or you've got a bankruptcy, that's the time when your body needs you the most. That's when you need your brain working at its peak performance. If you start messing with your gut, okay, your gut is known as your second brain, and there is constant communication between your brain and your gut. If you're putting processed foods and oils and vegetable and sugars down into your gut, that causes major disruption into your brain, and that's what causes the depressions, the panic attacks, the anxiety. So while you're sitting there and your mother's in the hospital with a heart attack and you're already going through crazy anxiety, let's just add to the problem and create more panic attacks and more anxiety by putting more sugar into the system. And then you don't exercise, so you're not burning out the energy that your body has got major stress going on. And when your body has stress, it's designed to take the sugar out of the cells and put it into the bloodstream so that you have energy to fight or flight. So here you are, you're sitting in the hospital and you're going back and forth wondering what's going on with mom, and all of the sugar is in your bloodstream and it needs to do one of two things: fight or flight. And that's when people need to get up and move their bodies and be strong and build muscle and run, so that when you go to the hospital and you need to speak to the doctor about what's going on with your mother, you've got mental clarity and your body is strong. You've got the confidence to stand and make decisions that are important for your mother at that time.
Wow.
Love it.
Love it. Totally.
Woo!
Your passion.
I think it's time to change things. No, you know what? I never realized when you just talked about, I love how you talked about connecting, you know, the brain and the gut, because I actually do suffer from anxiety and panic attacks. And I'll tell you, I am a carb girl.
You're a what?
I'm a carb girl. So
Yes.
I was like, whoa, guilty, right? So I'm actually.
But Krista, once you understand the science behind the body and why your body is craving carbs during times of stress, okay, there's a reason for that.
That makes sense.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is going to help you, because what happened about 20, 30 years ago is big business that sells you cookies went into bed with big business that sells cigarettes. And they came up with the science behind what makes food addictive. And they have played around with the chemistry of food between the reward center and the release of dopamine and what creates that addictiveness into the processed foods. So first of all, you have a crazy, mad addiction for food, the same way as you do for smoking, for heroin, for alcoholism, the same things that hold you addictive to these evilness of the world that's illegal. You now have a legalized ability to be addicted to the biggest thing that can kill you. Right? So like right then and there, you have to realize that once you detox your body and get off of your sugar addiction and your addiction to processed foods, then when you're in times of stress, you understand that I told you before that the sugar is removed from your cells and put into your bloodstream. With empty sugar cells, and especially if you're on a sugar energy and not a fat-based energy, your body is like, give me more sugar. I need more energy. So that's why you're getting those cravings for carbs. So once you set up your body and you understand how it works and you put your body so it's running properly in a good hormonal balance, you've got good balance fluctuating throughout your body, when you've got those times of stress, you're not going to emotionally eat.
Yes.
You're smarter than that now. You understand that you're like, okay, I know that I'm craving that emotional food because I'm going through stress. This is the protocol that I do in order to eliminate going for those M&Ms and Oreos. I want to follow this procedure first, and then you'll have strategies for times when you want to enjoy food for the pleasure of food. It's date night with hubby. There's no kids around. You're going to your favorite pasta restaurant, and you'll go and indulge and have a nice night, and then you'll be like this the next morning when your stomach is like,
yeah.
That's why I don't put those foods in my body anymore, because it's not supposed to be in there.
No. You know, just, you might have some insight on this or not, but like one thing for me is I actually don't really crave food. Like I don't really get hungry. I actually feel like I have to remind myself, oh, it's time to eat. And I've always been that way. But I think what I do is my head, or maybe it's obviously just habits, is I look for that feeling. And maybe that's why I go to carbs, because it's like, okay, if I feel that, then that means I'm full, because I don't have that trigger. I don't know if that makes sense, but
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you've got obviously multiple hormones that govern your appetite and your satiety centers, but you've got two main ones, your leptin and your ghrelin levels. And people are genetically coded different ways. And that's why some people can go all day until 5 o'clock and they're like, I didn't even eat today. I didn't even think about it, versus somebody else
to do that. But yeah.
She'll say she has a headache. And I said, did you eat today? She'll go, oh, no, I haven't eaten today. All right.
This is so embarrassing. I'm like giving away. No, it's not. It's good.
No, it's good. Yeah. I want to go back. It's something that's concerned me lately, because I actually, it's funny, last week about like, somebody did something online about like what happened when I took sugar out of my diet for 10 days type of thing. And so every morning, the kids want cereal. And for a long time, they'd get the cereal and the milk. And then now it's like, I want some sugar on it. And they're very attuned to, did you put sugar in it? And it's like, how do you throttle that back? Because we're really training them to sweeten what really is already sweetened. Like, it's like,
well, I'm going to have you throw out your cereal and your milk. So that'll solve that problem right there.
And the milk?
And the milk.
Let me ask you a question about cereal, okay? Because when you understand a little bit more about cereals and the disruption on the brain and your kids, you told me that your son is 4 and his brain is just growing, right? It's just going to grow all the way till he's 25 years old. So you want to preserve the synapses and the connections that happen within the brain. So when you're adding things to diets like vegetable oils that you're going to find in cereals and those high amounts of sugars, that is majorly disrupting the synapses and the growth of the brain of your child. So first and foremost, you want to absolutely change that strategy with your son when it comes to cereals. And then I won't be able to get into the dairy conversation because I'll be here for an hour, but essentially if you understood what is happening within our dairy supply and what is happening within the milk of what's happening, go to Netflix, go and watch Frankensteer, go and watch Food Incorporated, go and watch the shows that What the Health. They give you an in-depth look of what's going on in the dairy industry today. And as a sidebar, I like to recommend that when you watch documentaries, listen more to the people who are being interviewed rather than the narrator, because all the graphics and the narration during documentaries, they love to emphasize the message that they're trying to teach. But the people who are being interviewed, they've got a message that they want to share with you. So essentially, yes, you're going to want to lose the sugar, lose the cereal, because the question that I have for you guys is, when you're looking at this bowl of cereal and you're saying, okay, even if it's a healthy one, right? It's fiber one cereal. So you're like, oh yeah, I want to have fiber one because I need fiber and it's got 15 grams of fiber in it. So that's a good choice for me. So I'm making a healthy choice, right? You look down and you're saying, okay, first of all, when was the last time this bowl of cereal was alive? When was it a living plant? Because if you want to be alive, you need to eat live foods. And then start to do the math. And you're like, okay, so, well, it was probably in my grocery store for about a month, maybe longer. And then it sat in a back room, I'm sure, somewhere. And then it was on a truck. And then it was in the processing plant. And then from the processing plant, who knows how long it was there. And then before they actually turned it into Fiber One cereal, it was like, what was it? It was wheat. Wheat, corn, and soy are the most disruptive things that are going into our bodies today. And they are absolutely contributing to the obesity problem that we have today. And they strip and refine these products on top of everything else that they do to them to remove all the nutrients that were in them. And whether or not we should even be eating wheat is another conversation all within itself. So before I run off on too many tangents making your brain slip all over the place.
Oh, it's good. This is important for people to know. Mm-hmm.
So that, like, it sounds overwhelming in this conversation, but what we do in our program anyways, is that we give you a mastermind meeting every Monday night. And I give you a lesson in about 40 minutes of I open the door and I open the window to the concepts of the information and the topic of that night. Yes. So let's say it was on fasting. I give you 40 minutes of the education behind fasting and why you may or may not want to do it and practice it. Then you have a couple of days to just kind of germinate that in your head. You're just kind of like, okay, that's interesting. I like that. I don't like that. On Thursday, you meet with your accountability coach and she's like, okay, so what did you like when you listened to Sherry? What makes sense to you and what doesn't make sense to you? Yeah. And what do you want to put into your plan? How do you want to implement this now? Let's turn that theory into action. And how do we take what you learned and make it part of your schedule? And that's what her job is. Yeah. And then over the 6 weeks, you start to learn all these different aspects about your health and your body. Yeah. And that's why you go through the challenge one time. And then you're like, sign me up for a year because I know I have to do this multiple times as I learn to tweak it and finesse it and to really understand how my body works.
Yeah. Awesome.
That was awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Holy, I have lots to process here. Like you've hit a million areas here to digest. I guess it's the 6 weeks program, right? The 6-week program.
We need to join the program and we need to go grocery shopping and cereal and milk.
So I know you guys love to focus on chatting about family and the integration of business and what kind of questions did you have in that direction?
So you said you have a daughter.
I have a son.
A son. Sorry. How old is your son?
He's 6.
He's 6. So is he involved at all or how do you involve him in your business? Like I know for me, my little ones, I let them be a part of it as much as they can be, right? Because I really like them to see what we're up to and what we're doing. Like now they love the camera as a result, right? They think it's fun, but.
And in fact, we have one that's bombing us right now. So
yeah, don't worry. I'm used to the kid bomb. Don't worry.
So I'm just curious, your little guy, because you must have moments where you see that you're rubbing off on him, right? Like, does he have non-negotiable swag that he wears? Or tell us a little bit about him.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because a few months ago, we always give, swag away to everyone that joins our group. So we have a swag bag and I did a Facebook Live and he's like showing the procedure on how to roll up the shirt and put in the bottle and do all this stuff. But for sure, my son is a video bomber. He loves to, we make smoothies together on the Facebook page and he'll come downstairs into my studio and he'll say, okay, I'm teaching the class tonight, and absolutely. The problem is I am a single mom. So his father has different views on nutrition than I do. So there is that, back and forth between, him and how I teach him as much as his little 6-year-old mind will absorb and appreciate about what food is and what it does to his body. And then he has other influences that I don't have any control over. So yeah. I'm just praying that as time goes on and he sees, what we do here, that he'll want to adopt more of these, practices as he gets older.
habits. Yeah. I think it's so cool. I love involving my kids in the business. I know a lot of people do keep them very separate, but I just think it's so fun. And it's cool. Like what you just said, if he's showing people how to roll them up, it's because he's seeing you do it. Right. So it's adorable.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Soon he'll be doing video interviews and everything. It's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah. It's really just like understanding where your family fits in. We have the same thing with juggling, right? With the kids at home and everything, and us working from home and running our business. So wherever you can include them, it's awesome. So,
and I think it's really important to have a schedule because, you know, you need that time where it's just you and your child, right? There's no computers, there's no checking messages. They need that eye contact. They need that playtime. And as entrepreneurs, you and I both know that we're so passionate about our business and we wanted to grow and we're being pulled in all directions and we're wearing all the hats and we've got things in motion all the time. And to make time to stop and 100% focus on your kids is such a challenge. And then also as an entrepreneur, you're like, when you're in your business, you feel guilty about not being with your son. And when you're with your son, you feel guilty about not being with your business. And you're emotionally torn between the two worlds. And it's a struggle for sure to find that balance.
Yeah. So one of the things we always like to ask all of our guests is what their I feel like you have a lot of superpowers. I think I know, but we always like, if you could pick one, what would you say is like your biggest superpower?
Wow. Are you saying it in business and in life, in being an entrepreneur?
She has so many, she doesn't know what to pick.
Like, okay, which category are we talking about for my
sorry. Yeah.
You pick, really.
Okay. Well, I guess my true passion of what ignites me and what raises my energy is exactly things like this, is being able to enlighten people on, you know, what's going on, how to make their health non-negotiable. You know, that's being a motivational coach. You know, I never went to life coaching school or anything else like that, but I do have 25 years of experience in helping people manage marriages, manage their relationships, finding that life balance, how to get their health balance in. So I can only go by the testimonials that I have, you know, between pictures and videos and text of the way that we've been able to transform lives within the programs. And I think that's my ultimate superpower, is just being able to have a conversation like this with you guys, and then just bringing an awareness as to how to just find that balance, how to create that life transformation so that you're living every day in your peak performance and to the highest capability, that you're so passionate about what you do every day that at 4:00 in the morning, you just spring out of bed because you can't wait to attack the day. Because I think that
happened for real. For
me, it does. That's awesome.
Totally. You know, we live such a short life, and I'm so against working so hard for somebody else's Mercedes. You know, if you're going to work a 16-hour day for someone else's Mercedes, and you get, you know, just crushed by the tax man, and you just live this grind every day in and out of your life, you know, I find that's such a shame. And you guys appreciate, as being entrepreneurs, that at least when you control your own life, you control your own time, your own destiny, you're going to make as much money as the effort is that you put into it. And then creating a business where you get to enrich and empower the lives of the people in your community. So not only are you creating a great lifestyle for you and your own family, but you're enriching the lives of so many other people in the community. Yeah. It's such a win-win, and it's just why I just am incredibly passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a really good superpower. And I mean, I can tell that like the passion that you have is like exuding through the camera here, which is amazing, because a lot of times when you come across people who are, you know, in fitness or selling a program or a product, that's what's leading them, right? You're like, no, I can change your life. I know how, just let me help you. So that is so amazing that you're doing that.
Exactly right.
So one of the other things.
Where's the monkey?
He's like
monkey, what's
a lion.
Up? Yeah, what's up, monkey?
You can come say
Okay,
hi.
come
Let's say hi.
I'm here to say
Yeah,
hi.
he is trying so hard.
He's
Hi,
trying very
Monkey.
hard to be good.
What's your name? What's your name?
Hello.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You see, that's how you do it. You crush it by putting them on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hi. Hi. Don't worry, my son does the video bomb all the time. You had a question, I think?
Yeah, we always like to ask our guests to ask us a question and hopefully to maybe stump us or to.
If you have a question for us.
If you have one.
Absolutely. I absolutely want to know how you guys manage who does the handoff, like while someone's being strong in the business, who's strong in the family, or if it's a 50-50 thing, how do you guys find balance working together?
Yeah, I would say that the family-wise, it's a 50-50. I think that Ed is probably better at knowing too, we're different people. Like I really need my kind of alone time and focus to like re-energize. So Ed is really good at taking the monkeys out of the picture so I can do that.
Yeah.
Business wise, you know what? We're still in transition of selling a business and, figuring out our jive, like what our roles are, figuring out what our individual superpowers are and our strengths and what direction we're going to go. So
How best to apply them. We know that, we've got each our individual
and then take the emotion out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's
like we're working on something and she's designing something. She's like, what do you think? And I'm like, okay, how do I answer this?
Yes.
I'm not really
I don't want to hurt your feelings.
They'll say, what about it? Well, what's wrong with it? No, okay, it's fine. No. Well, no,
you can't say that. No, you guys, when it's in work, you got to agree that your honest opinions hit. You can't you got to have the real answer and not be worried about offending the other person. Or you always have a third party that you're like, okay, we did this work. Don't ask my opinion. We're going to always ask the opinion of the third or fourth party, right? And that way you never get into that situation.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's good advice. And sometimes I get frustrated because I feel like he's not giving me his honest answer because
you have to.
Right?
You have, Ed?
Yes.
Pinky swear.
Okay,
Pinky swear, that's right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Pinky swear,
So then,
you have to. This is your business. It's your business and you have to both want to be so proud to stand next to it. And what if, Krista picks a logo that you hate and for the rest of the time you're looking at this logo where you're like, I just don't like it. Yeah. And it's everywhere.
So Sherry will be on her phone. All of a sudden, I'm just laying on the couch. I need your advice, Sherry. Krista. No, that's awesome. Yeah. And it is. It's finding out the groove. I think with the kids, we're really good at handing off. I can tell. I can pretty much tell. She doesn't have to say anything. And then just personal time. I'll usually shove her out the door. I'll say, hey, you've been home all day with the kids, so
you need it.
Get in the car and go for a drive to, I don't know, wherever.
That's a great husband. That's a great husband because, for sure, moms have the hardest weight to pull, right? Because we are chemically wired to look after everybody else but ourselves first. And we're chemically wired to feel like ultra guilt when we look after ourselves instead of somebody else, which we think is instead of, but it's really just allowing yourself to have those moments in time during the day where you can connect with yourself and who you are and what you want. And it's not always about the husband or always about the business or always about the kids. You have that one-on-one because so many people come and they arrive in my program where they've just lost themselves. They don't know who they are anymore. They're like, all I know is that I wake up and I've got to deal with the kids and I got to get them to daycare or get them to school. And then I've got a business to run and my husband needs things and we don't even have sex anymore. We don't go on date nights anymore because we're constantly between kids and the business and running around. We got this meeting, that. And then where am I in all of this? I can't even remember where I am anymore. And that's when people are like, I'm 40 pounds overweight. I'm addicted to food. I'm not sleeping. I'm suffering from depression and anxiety. I am ultra stressed all the time. I'm not enjoying life anymore. And I should be, because I'm happily married. I've got an amazing husband. I should be madly in love with him. I've got an exciting career, building my own company, my own business. Every day I should be waking up and feeling so excited to build and create something. I've got beautiful kids that I get to live my childhood through again. And if I'm doing an interview right now and I'm totally freaking out and panicking that my son is acting up and I want to do this professional video, right? You feel that, and you're like, in that moment right there, Krista, because I've experienced it myself, you're like, I love my child. He's being a nightmare right now, but I love my child, but I love my business.
I know.
And I'm stressed in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, how do I find myself in a situation where I'm so happy to have my son being playful and doing my professional business video at the same time, and be at peace with it?
Yeah.
And we're not at peace with it, right? When my son comes on and he acts up, it's like, I should be professional. It should be proper. It should be absolutely right. And we don't live in that world anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been working from home for like 4 years now with the boutique. So I've kind of got used to having the kids in and out, but it's also a different audience, like the people when I'm on video and stuff, their moms, so they all get it too, right? So, but I know it is a hard role to be a mom, having that guilt pulling you all over the place, because we have it regardless of what we're doing. So I am actually lucky, and I am blessed to have him to really understand that and help out in that sense. For sure. I can't complain about that. And he also cleans and cooks and does laundry, although he doesn't do laundry the way I would like it done, but it's okay. He still does it.
You got a winner there, Krista. You got a winner. Awesome.
Yeah. So Sherry, can you tell us, how can our viewers or listeners get in touch with you and your program? Because I think that will be totally life-changing for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Oh, I'd be so happy about that. Yeah. For sure. You can friend me on Facebook. So Sherry Thacker, as it's described there. And if you even type in personal trainer, you'll find me on Facebook easy enough. And my challenge page is called sherryschallenge.com. Spelt with my name, SATRRYS challenge.com. And right there is where you're going to find the full information session of what you need about what our challenge is all about and whether or not it's the right place for you to be. And once you decide to sign up, then we got you every step of the way. We'll take full care of you the entire ride. So very happy to have you on board.
So
awesome. That's great. Well, thank you very much for your time and sharing a lot of information, like jam-packed. So we really appreciate it. So,
my pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.